What's up guys, I'm going to do another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about, Vonderhaar talked about the new UI for the death stashes that they're going to be testing out and hopefully implementing into Blackout soon, and also later in the video we're going to be talking about Blackout becoming free to play later this year. So let's start out with what Vaughn said about the new UI update. So he put this on his Twitter. He said, "Don't tell anyone I tweeted about this, they get mad. New stash UI or user interface is in dev builds, being play tested, actually tested by QA, and we are bug fixing. Current design debate, 2 rows of 5 or 3 rows of 5. 3 rows means less tabbing and death stash, but less uses more screen." Here is the image he included with it. So obviously you can see this is what he's referring to. So this would be the 2 rows of 5. But you also have to switch over into another. You have to use the bumpers, and you have to tab over into the next, section to look at the rest of the items and stuff. And honestly, when he's saying like that, there's a debate here for this. I personally would rather go for the 3 rows of 5 rather than the 2 rows of 5, because I mean the difference is that with the 3 rows of 5, there is, like he said, less tabbing, but it also takes up more of your screen space. And I like this because it's more in line with the PC version of Blackout, because the PC version of Blackout, whenever you open up a death stash or a crate or anything, everything just, appears at once, and you don't have to like scroll through it like you do on console. It's just all, right out there for you to grab, and you can click on anything you want and transfer it to your inventory. But whereas on console versions, you have to do that whole stupid scroll thing where you got to go all the way to the right, and it's, I mean, it is sorted out well, so that way, at the very end there is all the ammo, and then, at the start it's like armor plates, guns, then it's all the attachments, and then it's like equipment, and then it's ammo and stuff. But I personally like this better because that way you can see a whole bunch of stuff right at once. Because I mean, in this last, with the normal death stashes, you can still see like a couple things at once, but you still have to keep scrolling through. And recently we've had bugs that have, caused it so you can't actually like scroll through, where you have to like exit out of the death stash and it won't let you back in for a second or two. Then you got to go back in. Half the time the items disappear and stuff. It's just kind of a mess. So some people have said that that's probably because they're not, the reason they're not focused on fixing that is because they're working on implementing this new system and just overhauling it in general. Instead of fixing the old broken one, they're just going to replace it with this new one. But yeah, so I mean, this is, closer towards the PC version, but I would rather just have the full-blown PC version of looting on console. I mean, it might be a little bit more complicated, but I think that having everything on the screen at once is a whole lot better rather than tabbing. Because I mean, the problem we still have here is that we still have tabs, and so we still have different, things we have to scroll through. Whereas I would rather have everything out on the screen at once. And I mean, the argument can be made that, oh, well, you don't want to have everything on the screen at once. And I think that you should have your screen kind of obstructed and stuff when you're looting, because like if it barely takes up, like this looks like it takes up maybe the bottom, like, I don't know, 25% of your screen. But, it should kind of obstruct you when you're looting rather than, say, taking up such a small portion of your screen. Because if it takes up, this small portion of your screen, then you're still gonna be able to see people and stuff. And I think you should be like fully immersed in the looting. You should have to like dedicate yourself to looting instead of like halfway in between looting and also still being able to look around and be, aware of your surroundings. But let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below. Would you rather have the 3 rows of 5 or the 2 rows of 5? And let me know why in the comments down below as well. So that is what he shared. He also listed something as well with it. So he says the main change from the paper design is that now anchors are at the bottom of your screen the same way Quick Equip does. I like this change a lot. You can still look around and understand how to look at blocked areas of your screen as a result, even when it's 3 rows. So he does go on to explain that stuff, and then he also talks about like auto mantle and also like his involvement with like the community with like Reddit and Twitter and stuff. But I'll leave that in the description if you guys want to look up that stuff. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of all this. I think it's really interesting, and I would rather have the 3 rows, but I am glad that they are overhauling it. Even if they have the 2, it's still going to be better than the current system. And hopefully, since they say that they are bug fixing, and it's going to be tested, and it is being play tested and tested by QA, then hopefully we shouldn't have any of these freeze glitches where like it freezes or the items don't show up at all and it's just like blank and stuff. So Yeah, so that is it for the Blackout new UI stash on consoles. That's really nice. PC is just going to stay the same because PC, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So PC isn't going to be getting this update. This is just for consoles. But next up, we are actually going to be talking about Blackout becoming free this year for everybody. So an analyst, Michael Pachner, has shared his latest predictions for the 2019 gaming year. In this new article that he posted, you guys can read about it in the description if you guys open up that link. But he says that Activision will make both Overwatch and Blackout free to play at some point in 2019. So he doesn't give any specific dates because honestly, I mean, he's not like a leaker. He's just an analyst. He's not like an insider. He's just an analyst that is, predicting this stuff based on past trends and whatnot. So he says that Activision will make Overwatch and Blackout free to play. He says, quote, "I think that the 18 Overwatch League owners have been assured by Blizzard that it will expand the audience for Overwatch. The most expedient way to do this is make the core game free to play in order to attract tens of millions of new users who will convert to the OWL viewers. I expect this by mid-June, the third anniversary of the launch of the original game. Disgruntled players who bought the core game will likely be compensated by being given free stuff, whether that's skins or other cosmetic items. Blackout will go free to play at least a month prior to the launch of next year's Call of Duty in order to promote the new game." So he thinks that it'll be, a month before the next game, which the next game is, most likely going to drop in October rather than November. So either in September or October is when the, apparently Blackout will go free to play. And so, I mean, honestly, I don't know about that. We'll have to see about that. That's really kind of an interesting comment and an interesting thing to say, but I think that it definitely is possible that they could make it go free to play. I mean, I'm not going to talk very much about Overwatch because he does a good job explaining that, but he only literally gives one sentence about Blackout. Blackout will go free to play at least a month prior to the launch of next year's game in order to promote the new game. So I think it's really likely because we've seen this in the past with Modern Warfare Remastered. Modern Warfare Remastered was bundled with the Legacy and Legacy Pro versions of Infinite Warfare, and Activision even said that they weren't going to sell it separately, that it was always just going to be as part of that, so you had to buy either the $80 or the $100 bundle in order to get access to that game, which really did discourage a lot of fans from purchasing it. And they were just really upset that they had to buy this game that they didn't want in order to get the game that they did want. They eventually did make the game a standalone purchase. It wasn't free to play, but it was a standalone purchase that you could buy. So they did that in, I believe it was June of 2017 for PlayStation, and then it was July of 2017 for, say, Xbox and PC. So eventually it became its own separate purchase. So now, still to this day, you can go out and you can buy Infinite Warfare just on its own, and you can buy Modern Warfare Remastered on its own. You don't need to buy them, together anymore. They're just their own separate purchases now, and I mean that's great. But once again, it goes back to what Activision was saying about how they're not going to sell them separately, and that basically, if you want to get Modern Warfare Remastered, just pony up the extra cash and buy the Infinite Warfare Legacy Pro Edition. So they have also said that Blackout won't be coming free to play or its own separate purchase or anything like that. That it's just going to be included with the standard copy of Black Ops 4. And as of right now, there is no any extra purchases really for Blackout other than some skins and stuff. There's no extra maps or weapons or anything specific to Blackout. And I would expect to see maybe some of that starting in the spring. We're going to probably start seeing some actual paid stuff for Blackout. But it's interesting that Blackout would go free to play instead of its own separate purchase, because I've commented on this in the past about how Blackout can compete with games like PUBG and with Fortnite, and so I have said that in order to do that, for sure, number one is that it needs to be its own game. And if you're going to compete with a free to play game like Fortnite, why would anybody pick Black Ops 4 and Blackout over Fortnite when they have to pay $60 versus a free to play game? Everyone's just going to go with the free to play game every time. But if you have a game like Blackout that's its own separate purchase for maybe $20, that's going to be more of more of a decision you're going to have to make. Okay, well, do I want to spend $20 on this really awesome game, or should I still stick with the free to play game? It's more of a compelling argument to go for the $20 one than, say, to pay a full $60. Even if someone likes, zombies or whatever, you can have an upgrade program. That way you only have to pay, say, another $40 to get access to multiplayer and zombies. But for it to go free to play, that would be a very interesting thing. And I mean, honestly, that would attract the biggest audience, because Black Ops 3 was free on PlayStation for PlayStation Plus in, I want to say, June of this year. of, actually, I guess not this year technically, of 2018. It was included in PlayStation Plus, and it saw record numbers for Black Ops 3 that month. There was millions of players online, millions of downloads, just because it went free for everybody with PlayStation Plus. So, you know, having a game be free to play obviously basically almost guarantees an extra like 5 million players because it's free. So a lot of people are gonna, even if they don't stick around, they're at least gonna try it. And so it'll, you know, help out those investors and help boost up those, you know, user counts and those, you know, player bases. That way they can share to their investors and shareholders that, oh, hey, we had, say, 10 million people online within a week, and help look better for the game. And also, since Blackout, you know, doesn't really have any microtransactions or anything in it, I would expect them, as soon as it goes free to play, for them to add in more skins and microtransactions and other stuff in there as well. But honestly, I think it's basically all going to still be pretty well balanced. I don't think they're going to add in, I mean, they did add in new weapons, but those are, you know, free for everybody. You don't have to buy those or anything like that or unlock them. They're just scattered around the map for everybody to use. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this in the comments down below. Once again, just take this with a grain of salt. This guy isn't like an industry insider or anything like that. He's just an analyst. That he has gotten a couple things right in the past, but a lot of people have commented that some of the things he's gotten right are like things that are like, well, no, duh. You know, just kind of like no-brainers, and that it's easy to predict some of the stuff that this guy is predicting. But then he's also gotten quite a bit wrong. So take that with a grain of salt, but then also remember that Activision has, you know, said that they aren't going to do this, but then they did, you know, go back on their word with Modern Warfare Remastered. So let me know you guys' thoughts on this in the comments down below. If Blackout went free to play, are there any of you guys who don't, you know, play it already that would definitely pick it up then? Or if it was its own separate purchase, let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.